Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome back to Star Trek Lesser Halls, an actual play of Star Trek Adventures by Modifius Entertainment. My name is ELH the Game Master, and I am excited to once again be back with Lesser Halls. It has been quite a long time, both in and out of character. Long story short, if you didn't watch last time's episode, time shenanigans, but I'll cover all that in the opening narration. Really, in terms of announcements, there really aren't any unless you're super into actually what I'm doing here on the channel outside of this game. What I would recommend if you're interested in that sort of thing, come to the Discord. We have fun there. But other than that, let's just go ahead and do introductions and get this party started. So, Drill, if you want to go first.
Hi, I'm Drill or Drilling. You can find me here on Twitch and in the Discord. I play Ensign Zahian in all her glory today because I was so excited for today's game.
Hello, I am Picardi. I am here, and you can see me playing Shrez. This should be good. I'm excited.
But you can't see him play that anywhere else. Only here.
Only here.
Hi, I'm C4A, and I play Ensign Gemma Solaris, the Zabolian engineer.
There we go. All right. So, as I said, there's been a bit of a time jump in characters. So, we are actually going to go not on the Phoenix, the little repair ship that the players have been on for this entire time. We're actually going to move to Deep Space October, where we see that the U.S.S. Phoenix has docked on one of the lower rings of the station. And we hear a voice belonging to the Fleet Admiral herself, Ignitrix. And it goes a little something like this. Fleet Admiral's log supplemental. Well, the good news is that the Phoenix crew has more or less come to terms with the fact that they lost a year's worth of time during their encounter with the temporal anomaly. I'm still working on getting them a new crew, as most of the old crew had already moved on to other assignments. But with any luck, we'll have the Phoenix back out into the Sabine Expanse probably by the end of the month. In not so great news, the Euthenia has failed to report in after its micro wormhole test. I have a feeling I know what's happened already, but just to be sure, I'm calling in the three ensigns to discuss a potential project to keep them distracted from their current affairs. In other news, Commander Baker has put in a request to become captain of the Phoenix. I'm thinking of just granting it all the way out because, honestly, the former captain has moved on to Starfleet Academy and Phoenix needs a captain, so I figured, why not? Why not? What else before I end this log? Oh yeah, the Cation couple came in the other day and was complaining about how they missed a certain Cation lieutenant, but maybe I'll mention that in another report and log. And right as Ignitrix ends the log, we zoom into the Fleet Admiral's office that's kind of overseeing all of ops in Deep Space October. And there's a chime at the door, and the Fleet Admiral says, "Enter." And in walk the three of you. In walks Keela, Solaris, Thriller. And as you walk in, you see Ignitrix, who looks very much like me at the moment. Standard sort of blue skin, chromatic hair, slightly different uniform than anyone's really seen before. And she kind of motions at all of you to take a seat before her desk. And she says, "Welcome, ensigns. Please have a seat, and we can get this started. I shouldn't take too much of your time."
So we'll go and sit down.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of looks at each of you in turn and nods and says, "So, tell me, how bad has the Department of Temporal Investigations been hounding you all? Usually they go pretty hard for things like this."
I don't know. I had a pretty good time chatting with them.
I've had to mute my communications for the time being.
I don't want to talk about it.
Was it really that bad for you guys? Because I just had such a fun time just, explaining everything. Because, we went through the loop and then we went through the loop and then we went through the loop and then,
After typing the report thoroughly and then explaining exactly what I said in the report, because I listed it out, everything that happened, after explaining it, more than 5-6 times, I figured I'm just going to forward everything. So
They make a hollow simulation of the situation.
Oh.
And
Wasting time.
Ignitrix kind of puts a hand to her chin and goes, well, now that you say that, maybe I should get Zimmerman in contact with the department. Anyways, no, that's thought for another time. So, ensigns, besides the department woes, how have you been adjusting to more or less losing a year? Is there anything I can do as Fleet Admiral to make your experience a little bit easier? I know some of you have had family things happen. I know some of you have had other concerns, but is there anything I can do before I really launch into the heart of this meeting?
I don't know. It hasn't been too difficult for me, really. I kind of just go with the flow.
I will need to request some leave.
How much leave?
Shouldn't be long, maybe a week.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that very easily.
I want to get it out as fast as possible.
Okay. Heading back to Andoria, I assume?
Yep. Yeah.
I know. All right, yeah. I'll have that approved before you leave the meeting.
You should see the message chain. It's a thing. Oh god.
And I've had plenty of time to talk to all of my siblings. I actually became an aunt again.
Congratulations.
Congrats. That's amazing.
Yeah. For the 7th time, but it's fine. It's fine.
Well,
that's a lot of childs.
Yeah, that's your, from what I understand of your family, Solaris, it's quite expansive.
It is. But it's all right.
Well, if that ever changes, you three have my permission to come bother me for advice or extra accommodations, because let's just say I already did this song and dance with the Bastet crew, and I've kind of got used to granting unusual requests. But anyway, so how much have you all heard about the Euthenia going missing? I know it's kind of been in and out of reports, but I'm just curious how much you all know about the situation.
I know that they were doing like some sort of test run with some like new, was it a new ship type and micro wormholes? And then, bloop. God.
It's actually a succinct summary. Yes, they were testing a new Cation design, and they were also testing a new form of micro wormhole travel, but they didn't emerge where they were supposed to, and we haven't been able to find them anywhere on sensors. So what I'm asking you three to do is look into the science and the engineering behind what they were testing. Now, you might be wondering, well, Fleet Admiral, why are you giving us ensigns this task? Long story short, if you do well on this task, you may have promotions in your future.
All right.
But yes,
yeah, sounds good.
For the duration of this, you have about a week to come up with a report and deliver it to my desk. I have granted you access to not only main engineering, engineering labs, and science labs for your purpose, but you also can tap any of the staff on Deep Space October if you so wish. So all I would ask is that you do not take my chief engineer away from his duties. He makes it a joke that he's working more than O'Brien ever did, but sometimes I worry about him.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And then
the Fleet Admiral laughs a little bit and pulls out 3 pads from a drawer in her desk and slides one to each of you and says, "There's your official orders and what you'll need to get actual officers above you to fall in line, but again, this is a test, so do try and do your best."
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes,
all right, well, unless you three have anything else, you are dismissed.
All right. Kayla will do that slap on her leg things and stand and like kind of strut out of the room.
I'm already looking at all the tablets and going, ooh.
Same, yes. Larissa's already going through all the notes. It's like, oh, it's a test. This
Yeah,
is great.
Keela's
I'm gonna
doing
make
it on her way out.
cards.
I don't even care if it's a test. I'm just liking this wormhole stuff.
So I'm not going to get huge into the technobabble, but I'm going to give you general ideas of what you're looking at. So, long story short, the Euthenia makes a micro wormhole. It condenses itself down, like the run. Let me ask this: do you guys remember that episode of DS9 with the runabout where it shrunk down, and there was a little ship flying around the Defiant? Remember that episode?
Yes.
I haven't seen Deep Space Nine.
Okay. So, long story short, in Deep Space Nine, there was an episode where they sent a runabout or a shuttle to investigate an anomaly, and it literally shrunk down to the size of a shoebox with people inside of it. And it was actually a really funny episode. I'd recommend watching it. But long story short, compressing the ship down, going through the micro wormhole, emerging on the other side of the wormhole, making the ship large again. So shrink, travel, unshrink.
Alice in Wonderland.
Pretty much, yeah. And you have access, as the Admiral said, you have access to many engineering labs, many science labs, and the personnel of Deep Space October, if you so wish. So it's really just a matter of where you all want to start your investigation. And there is no right or wrong answer here.
Is there a list of their personnel on our site?
There should be. Let me check visibility settings. Long story short, though, you don't necessarily have to call upon named NPCs that were actually in the Deep Space October series. It's more or less a carte blanche to get a lieutenant or a lieutenant commander or heck, even a commander that you see and you need help from. They can be pulled in at will, if you get my drift.
Okay, so what do we have access to? The science lab?
You have access to main engineering, the engineering labs, and the science labs.
I want to see how they've organized their main engineering.
Okay.
I think
Good
that's where
start.
Keela would go first as well.
Yeah.
She likes the hands-on stuff.
I want to see if there's anyone who helped develop the technology so we can get some information off them about how it's how it's designed, meant to work, and what the outcome was meant to be versus what we're looking at seeing
Gotcha.
the
Yeah.
technology, the plans, and the simulations.
The good news, though, is that can actually be happening in the same place. So, you hop in a turbo lift, and after about a ride of 10 minutes, you arrive at main engineering. Now, main engineering for a station isn't quite like you'd see on a normal starship where you've got just that warp core in the middle with EPS conduits coming off of it. For a station, it looks more like... I'm going to make another game reference here. Did anybody play Half-Life as a kid or as an adult? Okay, for those of you that have played Half-Life, it's the reactor that you push the crystal to in the beginning. For those that have not played or seen Half-Life,
Okay.
it's basically a pillar which comes to a fine point in the middle of the room, and there's kind of a matter-antimatter reaction happening in the middle that is being contained by force fields and other bits of conduit. And it's the energy from that reaction is being fed through about 6 to 8 different conduits coming off of that reaction. So it's a very large sort of engineering bay, and you see that there's maybe about 200 engineers just in this space alone. But chief among all of them is a tan to beige furred Cation, and he's kind of going around and checking in on everyone and goes, "No, that's not right. I told you that we need to calibrate the lateral flow." And, "Oh, hello, ensigns. Can I help you with anything?"
Hello, we're here to we've been sent to check on the disappearance on the ship that is Athena.
Euthenia.
Euthenia? Yes. We're here we're the research and rescue team, and
I see. Well, introductions then. I'm Lieutenant Commander Jana. It is a pleasure to join you on this endeavor. I was actually part of the reason why they were able to repurpose the micro wormhole technology. Though, if I'm being honest, most of the work came from Commander Rash, but that's beside the point. Let me see. And he kind of looks around engineering. Hey, Team Alpha, you got that prototype still handy? Yeah, boss, you want me to bring it over? Yeah, that's why I'm yelling at you across the room. Okay. And after a moment, about 4 to 5 crewmen, like unranked or not unranked, not officers, so like enlisted crew, bring over a small scale of the experiment where you've got a micro wormhole generator, you've got this tiny little model ship, and you have a glass case in which all of it is contained within. And Jana walks you through and says, all right, so it started here, shrunk down, went through the micro wormhole, ended up here, or it was supposed to end up here. The problem, I think, is somewhere in the middle with that micro wormhole. I'm not sure. But from what I hear, you're kind of being asked by the fleet admiral to come up with a reason, if I've heard correctly.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the good news is that I can tell you in my many years dealing with the fleet admiral that even if you don't have a definitive answer, it's how you do things that matters to her.
What if I do it wrong? Oh my gosh. And Keela goes into like an internal spiral of like not wanting to do anything wrong.
Look, we have policies on this. We have protocol. We have all this sort of things. We use that, then we scrap half of it and do something else because it doesn't work. That's usually how the big starships do it. So let's start with the protocol, then diverge when needed.
And only as last resort.
Compared to history, not so much. But yes.
All right.
Yes, but so I want to. Yeah, so we're going to take this and we're going to do tests. We're going to do the simulations. We're going to redo them first. Then we're going to do some weird things with it to see test the boundaries.
Fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I love it.
It'll be great.
Jana smiles and says, well, if you do need my assistance, please flag me down. But otherwise, I give you almost free reign of the space. Just don't actually blow up my warp core. That's happened more often than you'd think.
Yeah, I don't want to have any
Ever.
resonant cascades happening in here.
Absolutely
Yeah, that would be a very
not.
bad thing.
Yeah.
Warp cores are too precious to destroy. I don't know how people do that stuff.
Surprisingly easy, if I'm being honest. I think that's a story for another time.
That's the
Again, if you
protocol
need-
thing again.
Again, if you need my assistance, I'll be around. And Jana kind of flicks his tail a little bit in the happy way cats do, and then kind of smiles at all of you and walks off to go inspect other teams. But yeah, once again, you have free reign to proceed as you wish.
Oh my god, that was Jana.
Solaris is like immediately going to start looking around, making note of how things are placed, and be like, okay, that's good. And be like, I'd move that over there. And just like, whoa.
Solaris, I have good news. No coffee mugs, no coffee cups. Everything is neat and tidy. Actually, looks like Jana runs a good shift here.
On that, was the person who was leaving them on leave when we had the situation?
That was
Have they transferred? Are they
Have they
gone?
transferred?
Do you want to check the computer?
that was
Yes.
Lieutenant Giraffe, I think it was.
Yes.
If I'm not wrong.
So, yeah, you check the computer, and yeah, they did transfer.
I'm going around seeing all the tech and seeing, okay, oh, this is a new toy to play with. Oh, what can we do with this? How can we use this and this? Trying to find out excuses to use all the tech.
It's almost like you're like wheeling around like a shopping cart or that anti-grav platform, and you're just throwing things on the platform. You're like, ooh, that looks
Yes.
nice. Ooh, that looks nice.
This looks nice.
Keela is admiring all kind of similar to Straz, but more of the structural engineering and how, like, first of all, large everything is because we've been on such a small ship.
Mhm.
And then also how efficient everything is because also we've been on such a small ship and this is larger. They can do more and just like kind of marveling everything, kind of poking at things and just
If it
really
helps-
enjoying herself.
If it helps framing things, the Phoenix could fit inside this space comfortably. That's how big it is.
We're like little children at a candy store.
Hmm.
It's beautiful.
It's so pretty.
This is
They've clearly visited Space IKEA. This is amazing.
So there was a model set up somewhere of.
Yeah, so there's I'm trying to figure out how to describe this. So there's, if you'll imagine, 8 main spokes coming off of the reactor, and each kind of spoke is a different section of main engineering. The model is set in the absolute south spoke. The northern spoke is where the actual maintenance of the reactor is happening, and then there's something different at each of the other spokes. So you guys are mostly concentrated in the southern one, and it's about the size of, let me make sure I say this right, not a American football field, but like a soccer field. So if you know a soccer field in that distance are about the same, it's about half a soccer field in size. So it's a very sizable area for you guys to work in.
Okay.
Cool.
And yeah.
Let's go look at the model.
Mm-hmm. The model is, I'm trying to remember, what did I make this scale wise? I think it's 1/64th scale, if I remember correctly. So the Euthenia is about the size of a American football, and the generator is maybe about the size of an air conditioning unit for like a house. So it's a sizable display for you guys to work with here.
Ooh.
So I was thinking we get some of the people who helped do the tests and stuff beforehand. We'll go through them, then we'll break it down and go even further in that. But do you think we should look at other things while we're doing this?
Couldn't hurt to inventory what they have, and maybe we could get a smaller version of it for the Phoenix.
Yeah, we'll make sure it works first.
Naturally.
Would it be good to like one of us go through and do the actual look at the live test, because this place would have been getting all the results until it zapped off, right? So it'd be good to see what things was happening there and see if there's any variances to the model test.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Keela can look into that.
Yeah, so got that.
Maybe compare it with like a pre-simulation of like how it should have gone, and then compare it with what actually happened.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So that's going to be 2 different tasks, and let's start with the live simulation watch through. And Solaris, you can decide who you're assisting, whether it's Shraz or Keela here. For Keela, it's going to be an insight in engineering, difficulty of 2, and by my count, you have 1 momentum from chat, and there will be a complication as well, no matter what you do, thanks also to chat, but you do have the 1 momentum if you wish to spend.
I realized I was in roll 20 and not Forge, so I've just arrived.
And what's the other role, just so I can decide who to help?
For Thriller, it's going to be actually a presence in engineering, because he's pulling in others and trying to basically interview them to figure out what they were doing.
What was my role again? Sorry.
Yours is an insight engineering.
Oh yeah, my insight's 10. So
my insight's 11, but I'm like a people person.
I'm not.
Except when it comes to taking messages from the time people. So
I will fear. No.
All right, well, I can help out Thriller then.
So yeah, Kayla, looks like you're flying solo for this one.
Insight engineering. Okay, do I have any values? Or no, focuses. That's what it is. I'm remembering this now. Starship construction. I don't know if that
would actually apply here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
I have Starfleet Protocol, which I mentioned multiple times that we're doing, and
yeah, would apply.
Excellent.
Right. Yep, there's the roll, and hey, there you go, 2 successes. That's all you need. So, Keela, you watched through the footage several times, taking notes the entire time, and what you're noticing is that, as far as anyone knew, it was a textbook display of the technology, wherein the micro wormhole generation worked properly, the shrinking down worked properly, the entrance into the wormhole was correct, and the wormhole only persisted for long enough to pursue a short flight. So maybe about the space of the distance between Earth and Vulcan. So still large in a cosmic sense ish, but for this technology, a very small like jump. What I would tell you though is that what you get additionally with your success is that there was a small spike in the power output of the Euthenia's reactor. Nothing major, nothing beyond protocol, but you do note that it went from 100% to about 102.5% for a very brief moment.
Can I see if there were any external factors to that power spike?
If you give me your momentum to ask that question, I certainly can.
Can I give that momentum, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There, have it.
So, yeah, actually, it looks like there was a small bleed through the micro wormhole that when the wormhole opened, it actually was feeding energy into the Bassard collectors of the Euthenia, and that might be where the spike came from.
The Bassar collectors?
The Bassard collectors, you know, the red parts of the nacelle, if you're looking at a
Okay.
classic
Yeah.
ship. Yeah.
Mm.
She will relay that after people are not in the middle of something.
Okay. All right. So yeah, Thriller and Solaris. It's going to be a presence engineering, and the overall difficulty will also be a 2.
I rolled.
Did you? Let me see. Did it go through?
It did.
I see it.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, so that's already 3 successes. Nice. And there you go. That's a 5 success. Very nice, you two. Very nice. So you're going to
Haven't
get
lost
3
it
momentum
after
for
that
your
year.
trouble. And yeah, so Thriller,
Yes.
you have the engineering crew in the space give you a full walkthrough of every protocol, procedure, etc. I like to imagine that maybe Solaris is kind of not in the wings, but kind of somewhat close, like making meticulous notes about how
yeah.
everything's happening.
And she's comparing that to the logs that were like minute by minute. It's like, yeah, they did that. They said that. They said,
Mhm.
I want to say this. I want to say, look, you guys and the people on the ship who worked on this are probably like, at the top of the top. I don't expect any problems with the research here and what's happening on that ship. I'm expecting the weird to be the problem here. So anything that we didn't expect is the problem. So I want to go in and find out any little niggly thing that could go different. I want to find out like outside of the parameters. Like, oh, this is normal parameters. Okay, let's make the parameters a bit bigger.
Okay. That's going to change things, but in a good way. So they actually spin up the model generator to show you how it was supposed to go. And because you're looking for the weird, that's when Keela will walk over with that information so that you'll have something to base what comes next on.
Cool. All right.
So Keela walks over and she'll be like, guys, I found this. And she's like got her pad and she's quite emphatic. So they shrunk, right? And they went through the hole, right? And everything was textbook, data book. They were all great, right? And then there was a small spike of power from the reactor. So they went from like 100%, they were great. And then they got better at 102.5. Not a lot, but it's enough to make a difference. And it's because the wormhole, didn't keep its lips chapped and some energy shot into the Bassard collectors of the nacelles. And they went, Back to the Future DeLorean. And did I finish that movie?
There were
How
3
did
of
that
them.
end?
There were 3 of them.
There were 3.
The prequels were not great.
The railroad one was the best.
We briefly cut to an office where the Department of Temporal Investigations is having coffee, and he goes, "Johnson, I sense a disturbance in the force." Anyway, we cut back.
Anyway, so there was this very small spike right in the middle of Alice's Hold of Wonderland. So I think that's...
So you're saying the Bassard collectors Okay.
They
So we
overpowered.
shrunk down the ship,
Mm-hmm.
and now we have
Mhm.
Bazaar collectors collecting the same
Too
size
much.
energy as they got before.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Because they're now.
it's also because the wormhole had a crack. It was leaking energy into like the Bazaar collectors. So if it didn't do that, this probably would have been fine. So that little bit, what 2.5% more that they had in their reactor energy power shenanigans, made their caused them to, vamoose.
All right. Can we run some simulations of like that idea and some other idea? Let's research. Let's think of some ideas that around this and see what we could come up with and do some new tests.
Okay. So let's stick to the scientific method on this one so that you're not just doing everything at once, because if you do everything at once, you're not going to know the true cause. So what do you want to start tweaking first? Are you going to tweak the power output of the model reactor? Are you going to tweak the excess energy? Where would you like to start?
Let's do the first one, the power output.
Yeah.
Power output? Okay. So there's kind of a very high-pitched whine as the micro wormhole generator spins up and creates a little tiny wormhole in which the model Euthenia then jumps through. And interestingly enough, when it emerges, it's not in the case anymore. The model Euthenia is not in the case. It's actually about 10 feet beyond where the case ends. So the Euthenia basically pops into existence outside the case and then falls to the ground.
Hila like runs to catch it and like does a whole dive
Okay,
to try and catch it before it
question.
hits the floor.
Are you wearing safety protocol? Are you wearing gloves or...
You're around me, so yes.
Okay. I'm like, I don't know what I need it for what I'm doing right now.
Well, the reason I ask is because when you go to catch it, I'm going to say you do catch it, but it is extremely hot. Almost to the point that it would have scalded you had you not had protective equipment on.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm so glad I have this extra long glove.
There you go.
You can't see it because of this
So it
background.
goes up to here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go up to the device of my tricorder and
There you go. Nice.
test it.
And there's only one. I've only got one, so I can only
Only got
catch it
one.
with one arm.
She does it like laid on her. Keela will rush it back to the
Heck yeah.
table because it's probably burned through her gloves and just kind of like, and drop it onto the table, which is kind of counterproductive because she tried to catch it from falling onto the ground, but then she just dropped it on the table.
Dropped it carefully.
There you go. So yeah, Thriller, with your tricorder, if you want to give me a reason in engineering, and Keela and Solaris can also assist you with their own reason in engineering, I am going to set the difficulty at a 5, so you may wish to spend momentum, and maybe even tap a value, if you remember how that works.
Yes. All right. So can I still use protocol, or do you want me to use something else?
It's been a while. Let me
research.
take a look at your focuses here.
Holoprogramming, computers, transporters, replicas, reverse engineering, research.
I would give you reverse engineering, yeah.
Excellence. This is my jam. And how about understands machines better than people to get two?
Get that 2 free successes to start with? Sure.
Yeah. And should I buy some as well to get this?
Why
5?
not?
Yeah. So is it still 1 for this one, even though it doesn't?
Because you use determination, it would be 2 momentum total to roll 3 dice.
Okay. I think this is slightly important. So
Just a little bit.
We're solving a mystery. Where did they go?
Cool. And so I'll roll my reason engineering. Just double checking everything. There's no difference to complication range.
No complication range on this one. All right, well, that's already 4 successes. So as long as either Keela or Solaris roll at least 1, you're sitting pretty. There's Solaris, so there's that
Are
one.
we both rolling?
Yeah, if you want, you both can roll.
Oh, okay. And I'm only rolling 1 dice.
Correct. All right, so you get a momentum back for your trouble.
Tap
So
potential.
all three of you working. Oh yeah,
Untapped
untapped potential
potential.
before I forget. Good call. Good call. All right. Well, yeah. Actually, yeah, that gives you a momentum. So actually, you got all your momentum back. Well done.
We did.
So you guys working together, you all sort of come to the same conclusion that the size of the ship is almost like a slingshot effect going on. So it's collecting the energy faster than the ship can process, and that is throwing it through the wormhole at superluminal velocity, far greater than it was supposed to ever do. So I'm trying to think of a good example that would maybe explain it a little bit better. Um, Maybe it's like putting a car-sized battery on a remote control car and putting the throttle all the way up, and that remote control car just goes. It just goes.
You guys know what this means, right?
Yeet.
Our names are now going to be on the paper for this research. Yes.
You have fun with that paper.
I'm
I'll
already
draw the
writing up.
pictures.
I'll help you edit.
Oh yeah. Also, I think that okay.
I'll do the
So with
audio.
the information there, could we sort of scale the distance from this, space of the distance, and basically estimate where they should have turned up?
Yeah, and
Should
if you
we-
want to spend a momentum, I actually can answer that question outright.
Done.
Yeah.
If your hypothesis is correct and you do the math correctly between the three of you, they would have been shot almost all the way to the edge of the galaxy at the border of the Delta and Beta quadrants. And that is a journey measured in almost decades, not in years.
Oh no. All right.
We
I
really
think
did
we
go where
should
no man
report
has
this.
gone before.
Like Voyager all over again. But not as
Yeah.
far, but still. Ooh.
Still not great. I think we should report this and then figure
Does
out
that
a way
take
to
into-
communicate first.
Never mind.
What's your thought? I want to hear
It's
it.
fine. Well, I was just. This test was. This test we just do take into account the 2.5% increase?
It did, yeah.
Okay.
Actually,
okay.
yeah, I was going to say, so we'll say you do a second test and you get almost the same result where too much energy. Yeah.
Because I was thinking like kind of like a little bit of a change can in the long run be a big difference. So that's what I was thinking. But if
I
we
said,
get that done.
like, if I think like we'd have done a few more tests and tested
Mhm.
just the slight variances
yeah.
to see
Mhm.
just the change there. Would have changed the setup too, so it's the ship's still safe and we don't have to
Right.
catch it with our glove.
We started
Big
taking
glove.
we started using one of our adhesives from the many tape and marking places on the deck.
On the
like where we
floor,
could
yeah.
see,
The Mythbusters method, as I like to call it.
like,
Yeah, I don't remember what that actual thing is called. That's like the white and black marks that you track distances
yeah.
over. I don't remember what that's called, but basically that's what I'm imagining in my head with the tape. But yeah. So as you all are working on that and you're coming to this conclusion and getting ready to report it, you hear someone come into engineering. And the reason I say this one person in particular in such a large space is because you actually recognize the voice. And it's not a voice you like hearing because it's the same voice of a certain Cardassian that you ran into many missions ago. And I like to imagine you just sort of hear him say, yes, sir, you wish to have me do what? I see. All right, I'll work over here. And when you turn to look, you do see the spitting image of a certain Cardassian in a lieutenant's gold uniform, just working at a console in main engineering.
Keela like shoots straight up wherever she's looking and just kind of like add attention since hearing that voice.
I just indicate to don't make too much attention right now. Let's just keep this quiet for a sec.
What's that guy's name?
I'll ask one of the people who's helping us. Do you know who that Kardashian is?
I believe that's Lieutenant Miraz.
Maraz. That's a new name.
And if you
Okay.
need to spell it, it's Maraze.
Perfect. I do need the spelling. Mirage.
All right. Before I think we should do a background check on this Maraz just before we report anything.
Pulling up, trying to get crew information.
Solaris, go ahead and give me a. I'd let you do either presence or control, and it's going to be command, not engineering. So,
Yeah.
A question.
yes.
Was TM allowed in here? Do I have TM with me?
We'll say TM's here, sure.
Okay. Then TM would instinctively push up against her leg because TM knows that Kayla is very on edge right now.
Can I
Understandable.
use observation for a focus?
You certainly can.
Woot.
All right, 2 successes is 1 more than you needed, so you get a momentum. Actually, yeah, Solaris, you're looking at the personnel reports and personal logs, and yeah, apparently Miraz is fine, upstanding member of Starfleet, graduated the academy a couple years, not a couple years, more like 5 years back, and eventually just sort of found his way to Deep Space October about a year ago. But there are no blemishes on his record. There are no disciplinary actions. There is nothing that would give you any inclination to suspect this person. Now, is it too clean? That I leave for you to decide on your own.
Yeah,
But
it's like insight or whatever the equivalent is.
But yeah, it's, as far as you can tell, just upstanding officer that looks kind of like someone you've run into in the past.
This one we report to this station, or do we report it to our station?
Probably this one because it happened on this one.
Yes, but because maybe.
Wait, what?
Uh,
What happened on this one?
I'm just wondering because of the the other thing we do. If it has to go through that.
What?
I'm confused. I lost track of what.
Our other
specifically we were
job?
talking-
Oh, that's a good question.
I would.
Maybe both.
I
Let's
would.
Let's
Baker.
report it to Baker, and then
Captain Baker.
We'll yes, Baker. Let's say Captain Baker for now. Acting Captain Baker until it's Captain Baker. Let's do that first, and then let's see if.
Or we
they
could
want
make
us to-
separate reports. We could have a report of something that happened here, and then we could have further details on stuff for
Yeah,
the other one.
sounds good. I like it. It's all on. It's all on purpose.
Keela will ask Solaris for the pad of his record. Can I see?
She'll pick it up.
And Keela wants to look at if there was anything on his record that reports what he was doing when we encountered him last time.
Okay,
Like,
that
is
is
it just
going
like
to
an
be.
empty space, or
That's going to be an insight and command. Difficulty of 3 on this one.
I'm going to use a momentum.
Okay, rolling 3 dice.
I have no focuses.
You just got to believe.
I believe. So rolling 3 dice.
All right, well, you only got 2. So I think this is where that complication I mentioned way back from Shizno is going to come into play, but also there's going to be another complication if you want to succeed at cost. If you just want to fail, there will be just the one complication.
Keela wants to know.
Okay.
I know we're spying on him.
So, interestingly enough, Keela, yes, there is a gap of about a week between where he was supposed to be and where you encountered him. So there's not really an alibi is what I'm nailing towards here. There's not an alibi for where he is. But 2 things happen at once. The first is that the moment you see this information, the pad locks you out and says command access only. The second thing that happens is you hear the whine of the micro wormhole generator spinning back up, but nobody told it to spin back up. Like, nobody's near the display at this point.
We're gonna run and do an emergency
An emergency
shutdown.
Yeah.
shutdown.
So I'm actually going to say that because you've done experiments with the display, it's going to be possible, but it is going to be difficult. So you may wish to decide who's doing the main roll, and all three of you can roll. All of you can assist one another. This is going to be a daring and an engineering. The difficulty will be a 5, and the complication range will be 18 to 20. So when it asks for complication range, put in a 3.
Okay.
My daring is 8.
This
Yes,
is my
it's
best
mine.
roll, but
Okay.
I don't have the determination anymore. So I can't use it. So I can do the normal stuff. All right. So do you still want me to do it, or do you want me to?
That's fine.
Yeah. All right.
If you
I'm
have the
going to
best,
use the
yeah.
dice. I'm going to add one more dice.
Okay.
Oh, let focus.
Focus. Computers.
Escape and
Starfleet
avoidance.
protocol. Research. Reverse engineering.
Honestly, a few could apply there. I'd give it to you, yeah.
Excellent.
Rereading.
Jury rigging could apply. It is technically a
Yeet.
display.
All right. So I've got 3 dice rolling determination. Let's see how this goes.
Oh, wow. That is double ones. Wow. Yeah, that was already 5 successes on your own thriller. And then Keela comes in with another one. Very nice. Actually, let me check
potential?
because
Did we use
yeah,
a
roll
momentum?
untap potential. That's the thing.
How did
Yeah,
we do
that's-
that again?
that
Oh, that
is
was perform
significant.
challenge. that's
Performance
right.
save.
And you get a momentum back. There you go. That's 2 momentum for your trouble. Very nice.
Mm.
So yeah, either you're just really honed in or you just know what to do.
Somehow.
Yeah, like you like laser vision onto what needs to happen to shut this reactor down, and you actually shut it down before it creates a micro wormhole.
Well, he knows machines better than people, so.
This is true.
That's
Good
true. Immediately after we solve that, Keela wants to find Miraz in the room.
Okay. I mean, so because the wormhole generator was shut off in time, no alerts or alarms went off. But you do see Miraz is where he was when this whole thing started. He's still just at a console across main engineering.
Minding his own business.
Minding
Did
his own
he
business. Mhm.
react when it turned on, however?
Ooh. It's a good question.
And or did anyone else react? Like, be like, hey, that's kind of sus.
Well, the people in the sort of section you're at of main engineering did react and rush over to help you out.
Okay, did he?
Yeah, that's the question. Give me an insight and a con, difficulty of 3, and observation would apply as a focus here.
Yeah. You said competition of 3?
For this, the complication range goes back to a 1.
Oh, okay.
And you do have 3 momentum if you wish
need-
additional dice.
I used one.
Should I?
Yeah,
Yes.
we have 3. We're okay.
So, gives me another dice.
And there you go. 3 successes. Yes, actually.
Untapped potential.
Oh, yeah. Untap potential before you get. Go ahead and roll a perform challenge, and you would put 1 in. All right, so I get a threat. All right.
No.
So what's going to happen? Oh, I think we lost Keela. We'll fix that
That
in a
was
moment.
the threat?
Yeah.
We lost Keela.
We lost Keela, yeah. But no, so Solaris, when you look at the quick security footage of main engineering, it's very subtle. There's kind of, Miraz is kind of just typing on the console with one hand. And then he just very briefly, like almost like only a 2-degree shift of his head, looks in that direction of where you all are. But it's so subtle that had you not known to look for it, you would have completely missed it.
I will point that out to the other 2.
And yeah, I tell you what, why don't we go to break here? That way we can get
Good idea.
Keela back in here. So we'll be back in about 5 to 10 minutes, everybody. So stick around. right, welcome back, everybody, to part 2 of session 4 of season 2 of Star Trek Lesser Halls. If you're just joining us, well, the 3 ensigns believe that they figured out why the Euthenia had issues and ended up where it was, or is, depending on which show you're watching of mine. But in part of the process of experimenting and performing tests, they all noticed that there was a very familiar Cardassian in main engineering with them, and that there was a very subtle change in that Cardassian's mannerisms when the experiment began to overload and go out of control. Now, the good news is that the players were able to control the overload of the micro wormhole generator, but I think where we left off, where Keela dropped off the call, was Solaris had just noticed that there was a small change in Miraz's, the Cardassian's, behavior, and that's where we'll drop right back in. So Solaris, you've just noticed this on your pad.
And I will share it with the other 2.
I don't
Keela
trust
is very
the
on
comm
edge.
system. I think we need to communicate our grievances in person
Not with him or with
with
higher command.
Baker.
higher command.
Okay, good. I was like,
Speaking of higher command, Lieutenant Commander Jana rushes over, his fur bristling, and goes, "All right, is everything all right? What happened with the experiment? Was this expected? What's going on?"
That was unexpected. Where's that button?
Okay.
Zach, I want a button. Roll. For some reason, when we reset it, the multiphasic osmotic polarizing coil went haywire, which shouldn't happen usually, but I could see how somebody might have accidentally left it on after all the tests because there was so much processes going on.
All right.
So
Well,
we got it solved.
Yeah, it looks like you stopped it before it became a real issue. I mean, the only reason I noticed was because I was taking a small break and just kind of looking at the console. But well done. Anything I can do before I go back to my lunch break?
Can you I want to. No, I'm not good at this. I'm literally saying this out loud.
Watching you
I'm
go.
not good
I'm like,
this. This is literally in person. So it's like this. I need to go. There's something I got to report to my captain about a personal issue.
Personal issue? Is everything all right?
Yeah, it's something that's been in place, but I just remembered I got to tell him about something. It's because of the whole, the year thing.
I could give you my office if you wanted to have a private conversation with him.
No, this one I need to do in person because I've got to show him some stuff as well. So I'm going to head back.
What the heck role this would even be? Let's have this be a daring and a con, because con isn't just steering ship, it's also like your mannerisms and stuff. So let's make it a daring con, which I'm sure is your power stats. I'm going to set the difficulty at a 2 here.
2? I'm just going to roll flat. I don't care about momentum and stuff.
Not going to even use momentum? All right.
You can try to distract him with a question of some sort.
Yeah, okay. Oh. No, he 2 successes. That's what you need. So yeah, he believes you and goes, all right, well, you're the ones running the investigation and you have the time to do it. So at your discretion, Ensign. And then Jana turns to Keelan Solaris. Anything I can do for you two before I go back to eating my lunch?
No, sir.
Well done. And your dog Salat thing, why does he have Lieutenant Pips on?
Because
TM's a lieutenant. And TM will just sit all proud.
I'd be happy to forward you that briefing, sir.
You know what? stranger things have happened on Deep Space October. You know what? I'm not even going to question it. Have fun, ensigns. And Chana just turns and goes back to his office to eat, leaving you three once again alone as the rest of the crowd sort of disperses and goes back to their tasks.
I think one of us needs to keep an eye on our
Morels?
morales here. I'll go to the captain there. Should we also report this to the
captain of this one.
yeah
Ignitrix? The fleet admiral?
Fleet
Oh.
admiral? That's the one.
That's who we spoke with at the beginning.
Yeah.
Should we wait for instruction from Commander Baker first? Go off his recommendation?
I can go a round trip. I'll go to Commander Bacon, and if I need to, I'll go back to Ignitrix.
Okay. I think that's a
We keep working on the research and trying to find a way to communicate with the ship if there's any way, maybe, because now we've got to think about long range sensors and all that stuff.
Mm.
All right.
So Thriller walks
Yes, he does.
out, and we're going to do Thriller in a moment, but so that we have it on record, Keela and Solaris, what are you doing while Thriller is away?
Keela tells TM watch, and TM, of course, mind meld knows who Keela's talking about, and will kind of sit at attention and TM will keep their eye on Raz.
What about you, Solaris? Anything you want to have on the record as you doing while he's away?
I was going to be happy to go over there and just start asking questions about, time of service and be like, hey, how are you liking it here? But
I mean, if you want to, there's no reason why you can't.
Keeping an eye on them.
Keela's not confrontational, so go right ahead.
C4A isn't either, but Solaris is, so why not? Let's go talk to him. Maybe he'll slip something.
Sure.
Good.
Keela will not immediately follow, but maybe so many feet back from Solaris, kind of saunter over and then lean against the console, kind of watching from, and then TM will be eyeing him.
Nice.
She'll cross her arms and kind of cross her ankles and kind of
Nice. All right, well, Solaris, tell me a little bit about how you're approaching Miraz then, because again, he's just standing at a console at main engineering, just typing on the LCAR's display and looking up and typing in more, standard work for an engineer.
I guess something I should have asked myself first is do I pretend to be like, hey, you're kind of familiar, I'm pretty wide traveled myself, or should I just straight up just ask questions about time on the ship? You guys, thoughts?
Go all in. Know exactly who they are. If they haven't seen you since something that you remembered from the.
I like the roundabout way.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't directly be like, yo, we know that you know that we know, but
I like the kind of hey, I think I know you, and kind of being
fine.
Sly about it. But
all right. So yeah, so she'll go over and compliment the workspace that they have and be like, listen, we've been working on a smaller space. It's wonderful to see such a bigger place in action, and some of the machinery she isn't quite as familiar with, and you seem to know your way around here, and kind of tangentially on a tangent will go about and be like, you know what, actually I'm pretty wide traveled myself. You seem kind of familiar. Have we ever passed by?
And Miraz stops what he's doing and kind of turns to look at you fully and quirks an eyebrow in a Vulcan manner and says, I must apologize, Ensign, but I have not left Deep Space October in many, many months. In fact, since my posting here 2 years ago, I haven't left the station.
And so since we're missing a year, this is out of character, how long had we seen Mara?
So Maroc, you guys saw about, doing the math in my head here real quick, you would have seen Maroc 2 months after your posting on the Phoenix. So there's 2 month discrepancy between when he was supposedly posted here and when he showed up at that storage facility that you guys went to.
And okay, so she'll be like, "Wow, really? You haven't even taken a shore leave? That's quite a long time to be working straight on. There are many health benefits for getting out and getting away just for a little while.
Well, Deep
Uh,
Space October has quite the number of recreational facilities, as well as a numerous amount of holosuites. Has suited my needs just fine.
mm.
I'm sorry, Ensign. I don't mean to be rude, but is there a purpose to this questioning?
Oh, no, I'm just trying to get to know other personnel that we're working with as for the time being, and you just happen to be the closest.
I
Are you,
see.
am I bothering you right now? Would you mind
Uh,
explaining what you're doing? I'm just trying to learn all these things.
Roll me a presence and a con difficulty of 2.
Mhm.
And you do have 2 momentum if you. Oh, you also got one from chat. There you go. Thanks, TrekFan69.
Yes.
Hey,
Trick man.
Trick
Archie.
and does he have the eye patch and cane like
No,
Mirage?
no cane, no eye patch. Just looks like a normal Cardassian guy, all things considered.
Oh gosh. Presence and con. What was the difficulty?
A difficulty of 2. And I
I
think
have
if
one
I
of those
have your
momentum, guys.
Yeah.
I don't think I have a focus for this.
yeah, for this I don't think you do.
Okay, so a momentum.
All right, that is 1 success.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna work unless, yeah, you don't have like what is it? You don't have cautious con, so I don't think you can re-roll that really. Well, you do have determination. If you really wanted to use determination here, you could re-roll as many dice as you wish, but you would have to use your determination to do it.
Mm.
But you don't have to. You could just simply choose to fail here.
If we fail, it's still interesting.
Yeah, no,
It's
that's
not going to
okay.
be
I
life threatening.
will, hopefully.
Yep.
That's okay. I'll fail.
So as you're trying to kind of work your foot in the door to try and open the door up, quote unquote,
Mhm.
Miraz is going to say, again, I do not wish to be rude, Ensign, but I see no reason to have this conversation at this current juncture. I have quite the number of things I need to perform still on my duty shift. However, if you wish to have a discussion with me off duty, we could arrange that.
Of course, I would love to.
Very good. My next social opening is in 2 weeks at Kaza's, the main bar of the station. If that is suitable for you, then that is suitable for me.
Mm. I'll mark it in my calendar.
Very good. 1800?
1830.
Acceptable. And then, again, almost like a Vulcan, turns back and just laser focus on his work.
Mm.
Now, the complication, though, is going to be that in that process, some of the other engineers in the space, Star Trek isn't one of those things where you get laughed at for being a little bit of a fool, but maybe a few engineers nearby, you hear them whisper, "Hey, what do you think's going on with that ensign? Is she really having the hots for that Cardassian? I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on." I mean, you got to give her credit, though. She was really bold, and she just kind of walked up to him and struck up a conversation. Yeah, I kind of wish that, I had somebody like that in my life. Man, you're kind of
Keela-
depressing today.
Do I hear
Keela's
any of
gonna-
this?
Oh, you hear most of it.
Oh, I'm happy to walk over there too. Hey, fellas, you want to explain to me what you guys are doing?
And as that awkwardness is proceeding, let's transition to Thriller for a moment. Oh, Lord. All right, so Thriller, if I understand correctly, you're going to see acting Captain Baker, correct?
Yes, acting Captain Baker.
All right, so Baker is on the Phoenix, so you kind of have to go over the gantry to the Phoenix. Door opens to the captain's ready room, and here it comes. Well, hello there. What can I do for you, Ensign Thriller?
Well, hello, sir. Um, we're going well with the mission here, but I thought because we've had something happen that I think would be requiring for our new job that I should mention to you before I mention it to the fleet admiral. You remember Martok, the Kardashian? Marok?
I do remember a Cardassian by that name. Yes. Have you figured out where he is? Starfleet intelligence is still looking for him.
He may be on the space station disguised as another Cardassian called Maraz. We're just gonna it's just looks identical. So we're not 100% sure it's them. We're trying to get some research done, but I thought I'd inform you first. So
Well, that is very concerning, all things considered. Are you absolutely sure they're the same person?
Well, we were trying to figure out and go through their records, but then we got locked out, and then there was a distraction happened, and that sounds like him. So,
You got locked out, you said. Did it tell you what clearance level you needed?
I can't recall. It was the command access.
Well, if it means command access, let me try and see if I can access it. And he taps on his desk side computer, and there's a negative beep on the console, and he says, "Well, that is interesting, because even my clearance isn't opening it up. But if there is one person on this station that could tell you what's in that record, it's the fleet admiral."
I was going to go to them next, but I thought I would inform you first, just in case it was one of those situations. So,
well, I appreciate your due diligence, Ensign. I'll quietly look through my contacts here on the station to see if we can determine where this Miraz person came from and verify their identity. But I do hope that your experiments are going well.
Very well. We've I think we've identified a very possible situation, and we're now trying to find out how to communicate with them, because they're on the edge of the galaxy.
Oh. Well, that's, I suppose, both good and bad news. Best of luck on your work, then.
Thank you, sir. So should I go to the fleet admiral and explain it the same way, or do you want me to leave anything out?
At your discretion, Ensign.
Thank you. All right.
Is the fleet admiral in the know of Section 32?
Well, I haven't been told, so I'm not saying that they are. So.
Okay.
Also, wasn't it Section 33, not 32?
Is it? I don't know.
It has been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah,
After
I think
said
it was.
I was like, is that right?
I think it's 33. Yeah, I'm like 90% sure it's 33, but someone in the comments will yell at me and tell me which it was.
I was
33 and 3/3.
There you go. There you go.
33. Right. Okay, that's fine. I'm just here. Whatever.
It's all good.
Okay. Sir James says it's 33, and Shizno is being confused. I'll tell you later, Shizno. It's a whole thing. But yeah.
Go back a few episodes.
So, are you going to literally go to the Fleet Admiral's office? Are you going to try to, kind of figure out a good time to approach her? Or are you literally just into the Lion's Den, into her office kind of a thing?
I might try the Lions Den. I will send a communication to their secretary to say, look, could I have an emergency, just a meeting to talk about some stuff with the fleet as soon as possible.
How urgent is this, Ensign? She does have a 5-minute opening in about 20 minutes, if you can make that.
I can make that.
All right, well, you might as well get on a turbolift then, because my sensors show that you're in the lower part of the station and you need to come all the way up to deck 1.
Already walking there.
All right.
Montage of him
I needed more fitness in my stats.
Yeah, so there's a montage of Thriller sprinting down corridors, hopping in turbo lifts, sprinting down more corridors. There's little inset scenes. Yeah, climbing Jeffrey's tubes. There's little insets of Solaris talking to those weird engineers that were having that conversation. We see Keela and TM just kind of comparing notes furtively about Miraz in the corner. And eventually we arrive back at Ops, and we arrive back at the Fleet Admiral's office, and there's a chime at the door, and the Fleet Admiral says, enter, and in steps Ensign Thriller.
Well, hello. Hello, Fleet Admiral. I just want to inform you about a situation. I'll do this quick. A while ago, we met this Kardashian called Marak. There were representing the Kardashian civilians, and they were stealing resources from us. We believe that Maraz may be that person. We have been locked out of we had access to their records, and then it automatically got locked out to command access. So we were just doing our diligence to give you as much information as possible. However, we got locked out pretty much instantly, which makes it seem more like Marok is in charge, because there also was a distraction nearly causing a micro wormhole thing, but that was solved. Don't worry about that.
I see. And Ignitrix actually gets up from her desk and turns away from you to look out at the door behind her or the window behind her desk. Says, computer, seal the room and disable internal communications. Authorization Ignitrix Alpha 793. Computer chirps, door seals, etc., etc. And she says, going to level with you, Ensign. I do know the incident about which you speak, but I also understand that you and the other two ensigns are part of Section 33 now. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Very good. Then things are proceeding as planned. I can't tell you exactly what's going on with Marak, Moraes, or whatever moniker he's going by, but what I can tell you is that I am aware of it, and that there is something going on that is known as a red test. And if out of character you don't know what a red test is, you have to roll for it if you want to try and figure it out.
Yes.
I will roll for this.
Okay.
We're not there, so I guess
Not there. Deadgummit.
So the way this is going to work is you're going to rely on your knowledge of Starfleet protocol, Starfleet testing, Starfleet Academy, anything like that. It's going to be a reason, and I would say either command or con here. The difficulty would be a 3.
All right. I'm going to use that momentum we have.
Okay.
I'll use my Starfleet protocol focus, and I will roll and pray.
All right. So there is a complication here, and I'm trying to think how I want to do this, because I could.
Did
go
we use
two
momentum
ways.
there?
You did.
Did we succeed?
No, unfortunately, that
okay.
is it's one less than you. I mean, your option is you could challenge a value to get your determination back, and then you would have to replace that value later. Otherwise, yeah, you're looking at a failure with a complication.
Could I succeed with another complication, or is it like?
No, not in this instance, because 2 complications is a bit much for just a basic knowledge check on this.
Okay. I do not know.
Do not know. Yeah, so you have no idea what a red test is then.
Maybe
Yes, a red test. Something I definitely should know, but do not. I mean, I know.
But what I would tell you, Ensign, is that you're not to breathe a word about this to your 2 fellow ensigns or to Captain Baker. I want this test of yours to proceed without issue.
Test is going without issue. This is just something that's the other test. That test. Okay, our test is going fine.
I see.
In fact, I was here to report that as well.
Well, you're here, and you've got about 2 minutes before I'm needed elsewhere, so you might as well tell me now.
I'll just go into it.
So, you basically run up against the clock, and you've got like 30 seconds left, and the Fleet Admiral says, well, it sounds like you need to figure out a way to send a message through a micro wormhole towards the Euthenia. I recommend you get on that immediately.
Will do.
Unfortunately, though, my time is up. And computer, unseal the room and restore communications. And of course, there's a beep, door opens, and Fleet Admiral shows you the door and says, as you were, Ensign.
Oh,
all right.
Ma'am.
We return to main engineering, where at this point, Solaris, I'm just going to throw it out there for flavor that you've talked to many, many people at this point. You are now the socialite of main engineering. Keela, I would say it's up to your discretion what you're doing during all this time. But TM has just been, almost like horse blinders focused on Miraz, because that's what you told him to do last.
Yeah, she's probably sitting against the wall somewhere. She's got the she's kind of got her knees up and she's got the ship model and she's kind of totally forgotten about Miraz, but TM is still laser focused. She's just kind of looking it over and like, the craftsmanship, and she's just kind of in her own world.
Are there like little figures of crewmen, so you're like moving them around?
She may have gotten some made.
Nice. I love it.
Love it.
Love it. Was it Micro Machines or was it Pocket Polly Pocket? I think it was Polly Pocket that was the man, I don't even want to look up how old that is. No, we're not going to go there. I'm not old.
Have you heard of Mighty Max?
God. Why would you hurt me so? Why would you hurt me so?
I am older.
It's an old thing, I guess.
Okay.
I know Polly Pockets, but I don't know.
Yeah, I know Polly Pockets
for
used to
the
be
mail orders.
tinier, but now they're like that.
Yeah,
now, so.
Okay,
Mighty?
existential crisis is aside. Thriller comes back into main engineering, and Solaris and Keela, you both see Thriller has come back at this point.
Keela like jumps up, almost dropping the model, kind of haphazardly putting it on the table and running over to Straz. Like, what happened?
Okay, we've got to do this test right now. So we've got to do a micro wormhole. It's a communication over the top. You can see I'm sort of going. I'm trying to hint that we're not talking about it right this second.
Keela will kind of not so subtly be like,
Oh, I'm gonna
I
wrap the
got you. So
conversation.
we're gonna do communications long distance. Got you. And she'll kind of awkwardly, trying to act normal, strut over to the model table
And
to then start working on long transmissions.
Yeah. Solaris, what were you doing?
Solaris will be like, "That sounds fantastic. We will discuss this at a later time."
Well, I'm free
I got
this
some
evening
more.
at 1900 if you are.
He's busy.
1930.
Yeah, the lieutenant you're talking to kind of looks between Solaris and Shraz and back to Solaris. Sure.
I'll call you. And she'll
Excellent.
go back.
See you there, Lieutenant.
What'd you say?
I'm joining in.
Oh Lord.
Oh gosh.
Okay, so I'm assuming y'all will catch her up now, and we got some more
Mhm.
tests to run and whatnot.
Mhm.
Cool.
So yeah, we can get into the technobabble if you really want, but long story short, your current task, or the one that Thriller has you all focusing on, is basically getting a communication signal to where the Euthenia should be, quote unquote. I'm going to tell you that this does have ramifications for the upcoming Euthenia game this coming Tuesday. Again, knock on wood, no tech issues, etc. But what I'm going to tell you is that this is going to be a near impossible task. So you're going to want to spend all your resources and choose who rolls what very carefully. So let me break it down for you. This is a daring and an engineering task. If you have anything related to reverse engineering, communications, I think I already said reverse engineering, communications, Midas array technology, wormholes, black holes, spatial phenomena, any of those would apply as focuses. And you can still try and sell me on another one. The difficulty on this is the kicker, though. The difficulty is going to be a 6, a very rare moment where we exceed the normal difficulty and go to a 6. In addition, the complication range will be 18 to 20, so you would put in 3 when you roll for the complication range. But yeah, all of you can roll on this, and it is, again, a daring engineering. And I think by my count, looking at chat and looking what you've got in momentum, I don't think you have any momentum or threat at the moment, unfortunately. But Solaris and Keela do still have their determinations.
Yeah, I was looking at that because
My daring is 8.
Same.
My daring is 11.
Okay, so
It's you, buddy.
Well, remember, it's one of those things where you having an 8 over Shraz's 11 is you can get the 2 free successes from determination. He can't unless he challenges a value.
right, because we can't use determination if we're assisting.
Correct. Yeah, it's only the person doing the main
really?
roll. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
So, what is
That's a
yours?
my daring is 8, but a value determination I was going to use is like everything in its place, and this ship is clearly not where it needs to be.
Yeah, I don't think I have
Alright.
a value that would work.
And we can use some threat, make some threat to get some extra dice
Correct.
as well.
Yes. Yeah, I think I should assist. I don't think I have anything that would be useful.
All right.
To do the determine, I think you should do it. Do you have a value? A
Yeah,
focus that will work
that
on?
was my value. The everything
I
in
mean, your
its place.
focus.
Oh, I don't have a focus that could go for this because I doubt transporters would qualify.
Not
Unless
quite,
I'm
unfortunately.
Jury
Yeah.
rigging something.
I have a value
Jury
for
rigging
that.
would work. Jury
Jury
would
rigging,
work.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but I still my daring is 8.
Yeah, but if you can use the value,
with
and stuff, that does
Okay.
more than what
The
I can
value is
do
an
right now.
automatic. We would
Okay.
have to give 2 threat to get
2
another
threat to
die?
roll 3 dice total. Mm-hmm.
So a daring and con or daring and what was it?
Daring and engineering.
Engineering. And I'm using a focus.
So it's still a decent dice roll.
And the complication I've changed it to what?
3.
3. So I get to roll 3 dice just to
Correct.
double check. Okay. Oh, God. Oh yes, I'm using a value. And
All right. Oh dear.
Okay.
So that
can assist,
includes
right?
that includes your determination because that's what the 1 is, but that's 3 successes. So let's get Keela and Thriller to roll before we talk about maybe re-rolling those 2 complications.
3. I don't have any focuses, I don't think.
So
I just have
I have a
starship
focus.
construction, shuttlecraft operations.
Yeah, wouldn't help you there, unfortunately.
Robotics. Yeah, I don't really have anything.
All right, so the good news. Well, you're at now 5
need 6.
successes.
Ah,
You're at
frick.
5 successes. You're 1 away. So, Solaris, what you can do is you can challenge a value, meaning you're going to cross the value out and replace it with a new one. And that would give you your determination back, which you then can re-roll as many of your dice as you wish.
I like my values. Oh,
I know,
no.
it's always heartbreaking, at least for me, to look at a value and go, I don't want to change it, but
It's not
Would y'all
fun,
hate-
but
Would y'all
this is
hate me if I didn't want to give it up?
And yes, but no. Like, I'm like so 50-50 on it because I would want to be able to do it, but also it's such a big thing for you and your character.
it is a big thing.
Stras has done it once.
I know, but he's become different now.
You're becoming different too. You're learning. Your promotions on the journey. You can think of like how your character is changing and make the change based off that.
mm-hmm.
It's character growth.
God, which one could I get rid of?
And the good news is you don't have to replace the value right away. You just have to mark it that it's been crossed out, and you can spend the next week, 2 weeks, whatever it is, thinking of a new value.
Okay, but if I do this, but then it's still, is it automatically, what am I trying to ask?
Regardless of a success or fail, it's gone.
No, would we automatically succeed then, or is it just another chance to roll the dice?
You would re-roll as many of your dice as you wished, so I would recommend re-rolling both those 2 20s you'd rolled.
So we can still fail, but
You
it's
could
a
still
chance
fail.
of success.
Correct. Because surely you can't roll 4 20s in a row. I mean,
Don't
it's
jinx that.
possible, but not probable.
Don't jinx that.
in character, what would your what would your character do in this situation?
Question.
Would she be really gung ho trying to reach them and like would
Hmm.
do anything, basically?
Yeah, she would try to use what resources were available to do the best we can. Which is
Which
one
you
of the values.
Yeah, I have similar values.
Sorry, I'm sorry. This is taking so long. I'm really
You're
bad at
fine.
making decisions.
It's a big choice.
Mhm.
Huge choice. Remember, it took me a while too.
Maybe I can challenge Oh God. Oh, everything in its place. Maybe she'll start to relax a little bit on that.
Sometimes you just can't get it back to where it's supposed to be.
Sometimes there are better places.
All right, I'd accept that if you want to make it your challenge.
I hate this. Okay, let's do it.
Also,
All
the
right.
coffee cup guy is not around anymore.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
So you now can re-roll those 220s, and you either can use the re-roll results button to do it, and it should let you signify which results to re-roll, or you can just put in 2 dice when you go to roll a new task. So basically go through the whole daring engineering and just put in 2.
Do I still get to use the focus?
Oh yeah.
But I guess I don't get to use the determination anymore.
Well, the determination is being spent to allow the reroll, is what it is. So you can choose how many dice you reroll.
Okay.
But usually you keep your successes. So that's
Okay.
why I'm saying you're only rerolling 2. But you could conceivably reroll the other dice if you really wanted to. So you're
No, don't-
keeping your 3 successes.
Okay. So I'm rolling 2 dice. And I can only use my value that one time.
Yes.
I have a focus. Oh God.
Correct.
Please.
And that actually is enough to get you 6. However, I have banked a complication from chat. So what this is going to mean, and Solaris, you might hate me for this, but the 3 of you are working together and you're right at the edge of like, we need something, like we need to send not a signal through this micro wormhole, we need to send something through. And then it comes to you, Solaris. You know exactly how to get a message to the Euthenia. You go over to the replicator, you ask for a coffee cup. You get a coffee cup. You take a data pad, or I forget the name, isolinear chip. That's what it is. You take an isolinear chip. You put it in the coffee cup, and then you send the coffee cup through the micro wormhole generator. Now, in character, you have no idea if the coffee cup with the isolinear chip arrived. Out of character, I will tell you, you guys have until Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern to tell me what message you want to send to the Euthenia, and they will get it next session.
Was there coffee in that coffee cup is my biggest question.
Your call. You're the one that replicated it.
Why would I do that?
I don't know. I was just assuming the coffee cup itself, not actually coffee. So.
Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, so all things considered on your end, you just see the coffee cup disappear. You have no idea if it landed, but it didn't materialize halfway across engineering, so you can only hope.
Wow.
I think we should send our research so they can possibly use that to fix up their drive so they can get back.
Is entirely possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, the good news is that you don't have to give me an answer right now. Again, you have until Monday at 9 p.m. to get me an answer.
Cool.
But to sort of wrap up this session, what are you guys doing about the Miraz-Maroc situation, if anything?
I am not going to say anything yet, so I'm going to go to the acting captain and say, what is there? Is there any over like? I'm just. I'm not before that. I'm going to go through the Section 33 protocols and see if there's any override from Fleet Admiral for Section 33 captains that I can divulge information to our captain if need be.
Long story short, all I would tell you is that Ignitrix was very adamant to not tell Commander Baker that this was a red test. So you could conceivably go against orders, but it was kind of a direct order not to tell Baker.
Yeah. And I'm nothing but a stickler for the protocol.
Like, what if he just happened to leave the data pad with information about that out and we saw it? Like,
I mean, that's possible.
that's totally up to you.
All right.
I gotta find some new values.
Yeah, I know how hard it is.
He was totally thinking this guy is like a twin or something. That the longer time has gone on and the more she realizes that like maybe this isn't the same person, like her internal brain going. Just thinking it's maybe a twin or something.
If I do meet up with one of those other crew members, maybe I can ask around.
Sure. Yeah, that's one thing to do. What sort of questions do you want to ask? Just basic, like, is he been around for this length of time? Has he ever walked with like a cane and an eye patch? Like, what sort of questions are you asking of them?
Does he seem to get along with the rest of the crew? Is it true that he hasn't taken a shore leave in 2 years? I can't think of anything else off the top of my head.
Well, what I can tell you is that he's a bit of a loner. He doesn't really have a whole lot of friends, or at least not to the people you're talking to. But they can confirm that he indeed hasn't been off the station in 2 years. So.
I can go to the captain and say I'm not allowed to tell him because of the fleet commander situation, correct? Like, I can't tell him what it is, but I can tell him that I can't tell him what it is.
Do it.
I was told something, but I can't tell you what it is.
Technically, if you want to think about that, you can be like, hey, I can't tell you something, and now that you know that I can't tell you something. But I don't know, it's kind of a weird gray area, if you will.
But I'll have to report back to the information from the thing anyway. I'm saying
That would be such a lesser Halls thing to do, though. Be like, hey, I talked to the admiral, the fleet admiral, and she told me something, but I can't tell you.
I can't tell you to look at this data here. I also can't tell you that I was ordered not to tell you, but oops.
I think that's entirely in character if you want to do that, Traz.
I will do that.
Yes! That's hilarious!
So we'll say, for sake of argument, the three of you are in the
Ridiculous.
room when this happens, and Baker doesn't deliberately look at the pad, but his eyes kind of wander down to the pad. He reads it for maybe only 30 seconds, and then he just laughs and he says, oh, well, that's actually perfectly acceptable. This red test that the Fleet Admiral didn't want you all to disseminate information on, a red test is similar to what we did when we brought you into Section 33. We're basically testing your acumen in a complicated situation.
Was the complication in this situation us?
Well, no. By all accounts that you've given me, the red test was how you responded to an overload of your equipment. And as far as I can tell, you acted in a very quick and judicious manner. So I think you passed the red test.
How many red tests will we get until, we don't have to do any more tests?
Oh, even I get them from time to time. Don't you worry.
Okay.
I think only the Fleet Admiral is immune. But even then, I suppose a Q could come in and cause problems for the Fleet Admiral. We cut to the scene of the Fleet Admiral's office where John Delancey, Q, is sitting there with Fleet Admiral, and they're having a conversation, but we're not privy to it as us as the audience, but we just see that for a moment before we go back to Commander Baker. So Commander Baker kind of smiles and says, well, the good news is that, as far as I'm reading in these reports that you totally did not give me and that I found myself, that if all things go well with the Fleet Admiral, you're looking at promotions in your near future. Which does bring me to a new matter. As you know, the Phoenix is technically restructuring its command staff. It's only myself, EU3, and crewman Cole that are remaining. Wow. So if any of you wish to transfer departments out of engineering as part of your promotion, this would be the time to tell me. Out of character. Well, out of character, before you say that, out of character, what I'm saying is, at the moment, none of you technically have a bridge role. But if you want a bridge role, like if you want to be the chief engineer, if you want to be the science officer, if you want to be, I don't know why you would do this, but if you want to be the CMO, this is your opportunity to put your name into the ring, kind of a thing.
Oh.
And he's even willing to let one of you be first officer if you want to be first officer.
Oh, I proved I was not good at that job. Oh man.
Chief engineer,
Also
first
our
officer, chief science officer.
Wait, I'm the chief engineer?
I can't take it. I'm science now. Because my science and engineering are pretty much on par. Like I can choose which way I go because I'm a research engineer. So things in the future that can happen.
My science and engineering are actually the same as well. And then the next is security.
I have to look this up.
Well, again, it's one of those things where I don't need an answer immediately. In character, you'll give an answer immediately, but
Right.
out of character, I'm going to give you guys the same amount of time to get me the Euthenia message and what you want to do. But that is my way of saying, congrats, you've made it this far in the game. Here's a promotion. Here's a chance to mess with your character sheet. Now, to be clear, so that it's on record, so that future me knows what I said, you all are going to be promoted to lieutenant junior grade. So that's a gold and black pip if you really care about that sort of thing. The other thing is that you would keep untapped potential if you so wish, but this is an opportunity for you to change a talent out. So I'm going to get you the rules of what you can do specifically in Discord, but this is a chance to mess with your character sheet in a significant way. And you can change values, focuses, etc., etc., but you're going to want to think of how to do that and kind of coordinate out of character what you do here. But yeah, I think with that conversation coming to a close, that's where we're going to end today's session. So YouTube and podcast, thank you all so much for listening in. We will see you later, podcast.